We are live. Okay, hi everybody. This is Order of the Outpost. I'm your host, Kira, and these are my loyal crew. I said that like I'm a pirate captain. Maybe that's what I feel like.
Arg!
Alright, yeah. All these ships we have.
Pun.
Very punny, yeah.
You're more of an admiral then. You lead the fleet.
Yeah, look at me, like Admiral Janeway. So, this week we are recapping over the most recent episode, Bones to Pick. And we have a 2 week hiatus between now and when the show comes back on August 21st. So this week we're going to focus on talking about what we've seen so far and how we feel about it. And then next week we're going to have, during the hiatus, we're going to have another episode and maybe another one after that. We're going to talk about our theories for the future of the season. So everybody watching this, if you have any like really big theories, for what you think is going to happen, feel free to hit us up. So, what did everyone think of this episode?
Oh, hard hitting. I felt like a terrible fan. I had to actually watch it a day late, which I'm the kind of fan. I'm like, God, I missed the episode. No, but I gotta say, like I was telling you guys earlier, I have still not recovered from the fate of the wolf, as it were.
Yeah,
And
like that was sad. I was so sad.
well, it was so ironic because during the previous podcast, when we had the set designer on crew, Sonali had come out and be like, "I'm totally gonna call him out. He totally played the young wolf." Da da da, and so Shay made this really cute fan art of Talon
I
conquering
love
him
that
for
fan art.
she was conquering him for his donut, and we're like, oh my god, it's adorable. And because there was the story of him stealing her donuts on set, and then we watched the episode and we're like, oh,
Oops.
oops. I felt bad.
You know what really messed me up about his death is that I actually thought was like brilliant writing. It's that he's never going to get the chance to tell her the truth, to apologize, to explain that how much that she changed his ways. So now she'll never be able to have closure. She'll never be able to know whether he actually cared about her, whether he was just using her.
I do look forward to the potential of, since she is so revenge driven though, like maybe finding a way to come to terms with that by viewing what his actions were at some point and seeing that potential growth out of her. We don't know. But I think what really got me in that scene, the second dude walked in, I was like, oh no, this is gonna go some kind of bad way. But the line that tore me to shreds when he was
Mm-hmm.
asked what good he had done in this world, McNally hit it on the head with the brief light in his eyes,
Oh
saying,
yeah, it was
one remains. One
it
remains.
it was great. Speaking of which,
Guys, James is here.
Hey guys,
yeah, but James was obviously polite enough to let her finish.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Welcome so much. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no
For
problem.
those who don't know, James is the actual music composer for The Outpost, if you're tuned in watching right now. So I don't know how many live viewers we may have, but if you do have questions, drop them in the chat. We'll try to hit them up. Otherwise, we'll just keep up a roundtable and maybe James has something to throw in about the episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I can only stay for a little bit just because I'm kind of behind on work. You can see I paused episode 10 right where you can't see anything.
It's like, no leaks. I like my job.
Tantalizing still, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, if like I said, if anyone has any questions, I'll answer them real fast and stuff. I guess I mentioned in the chat my the power company decided to do maintenance on the lines today, so I was without power and air conditioning and everything most of the day, so I'm behind.
Feelings.
I do have a question. A lot of people have been like really interested in the last episode because it tied up so much in it, and people aren't sure, like we found out about Gwen, we, found out a lot about the demon and how she can control it, and then, she killed Shek, who was the leader, but not really, and it was really interesting this episode because at the end she had reached her goal and, had made progress on a lot of her other side goals, but she gained a new main goal, obviously, which was to kill Dredd. And it's kind of like, a video game progression where every time you think that that's going to be her all-consuming goal for the whole season, it gets handled halfway through the season and she's given a new goal. And I was wondering, now that you've seen everything, you don't have to tell us anything, but how do you feel about the cohesiveness of the season? Do you feel like everything really ties together by the end, even if there's like a cliffhanger or whatever, like we've heard, but like, do you feel like those goals make sense in the end?
Yeah, I think like the first half of the season, what they've aired so far, it kind of is one of those things. I'm not going to give anything away, but it's one of those things where you're kind of like, what's the purpose of this? And then you later find out the overall purpose. So, everything that's happened so far does have a purpose. I mean, even little things that people may not even notice or think, are insignificant or anything, you'll find out later, like why that's even in the show or why that character's in the show or whatever. So, I mean, that's kind of what I've been tweeting about is like starting at like episode 6. I think the story kind of takes a left turn, but in a good way. And Talon is still very much, important and involved. But you start finding out there's like a bigger story than just her story and the Black Bloods and all that. So I'm not going to say much more than that. I don't want to give it away.
But yeah, no, that you're definitely not giving much away because, you can kind of feel that, like it's that classic, the character thinks that everything that she's doing is just all that she is meant to be doing, but she's actually leading herself towards a way bigger powder keg about to explode.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you're on the right track of, what kind of what you were saying, that what they've showed and stuff so far, like it's not like the first half of the season has nothing to do with the second half. It's all related. I'll say that. So
yeah, I'm really interested in the Calypsum, obviously, because that seems to be playing a bigger and bigger role. And everyone, every time we've had anyone on, they'd be like, "Oh, I can't tell you about it," so we know it's important. But it seems like next episode, they're gonna get even more involved with these mysterious, buyers. And as far as theories go, like I said, we want to discuss the theories of what we've seen so far. I feel like I'm in between the Prime Order and the Greyskins themselves being the people who are these mysterious suppliers. So I think those are my strongest theories right now. What does everybody else think on that level? Where do you think this is going?
I really don't have any theories on the Calypso.
The Calypsum is still a huge mystery to me. I've heard theories, everything from, Janzo might somehow mysteriously be connected to the supplier because of all of his work in alchemy and chemistry. I've heard it could be the Imperials. I believe when we had Thor on here, someone even mentioned the idea that it's somehow attached to the Plaguelings.
The Plaguelings.
In regards to that some people turn and some people don't, and some people started brewing up a theory, and Thor loved that theory, but even he was like, I don't know, like, that's a great theory.
Yeah, that's all we can do is come up with theories.
It would be fascinating if we find out, for example, maybe more than one remains. Maybe it's something attached to someone in Talon's respective lineage that we haven't even tripped over.
I've been thinking about that since the first episode. I was like, but is her brother really dead? We didn't see him die. Like her, that's one of the things I think we talked about. We're like, oh, her brother's gonna burst out and be like, it's me.
It's just funny.
Also,
listening
one
to
thing
everyone listening. To
I was going to say, also
theories.
one thing that we could point out is that Resurrection being a fantasy show isn't completely off the table. When you're saying
Resurrection.
about the
Yeah,
wolf,
you're right.
when you're saying about the wolf and that coming back, not coming back, well, it is a fantasy show. It's not exactly. I mean, you got plaguelings and greyskin, so it's not exactly completely out of the question.
As long as it doesn't turn into like Supernatural, where people die and like pop back up in the same episode, like just he's taking a nap, guys. He'll.
Well, I'm not going to say anything about the theories, but if there is a season 2, they kind of hinted to me what it will be about, which is pretty cool. It's even better than the first season.
Yeah, we can tell they kind of seem like they have a groundwork laid down for if they get a second season. Everyone seems to have an idea of what they want to do and where they want to go, which is really cool. Because some shows, they're like, okay, the season's over. I hope we get a chance to figure out what we're going to do next.
No,
Way to tease us, dude.
Well,
over here.
I'd be surprised if 0 people pick up, like anyone picks up, if there's absolutely 0 second season, because you know, just like any other show, it does end on a big cliffhanger, and if it just goes one season, then there'll definitely be 1,000 questions unanswered.
It's called torture. That is called torture.
Yep.
Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, like I've been saying, the 6 through 10, the story gets really good and a lot bigger, and I'm hoping that really, attracts more audience.
As far as your job goes, like some of the most interesting scenes for the score that I've noticed was in Mistress and the Worm, when during the bath scene. Like I loved the music in that scene and how like kind of like gentle it was and stuff, and like my question is, when different characters or different like plot lines recur and like develop, do you like carry on certain musical themes? Do you try to like build on things throughout the show musically, or does everything start fresh?
I mean, I use the same themes for the characters, and I'm not just copying and pasting what I've already written. I mean, usually every scene I'll start fresh, and even if it's the same theme, or if it's the same character theme. So like if I'm using the mistress's theme, it's the same theme, but I'm trying to change it up a little bit. I'm always starting from scratch on that scene, because I mean, with her, it's her, and with a lot of Janzo, it's kind of comedic. So with the comedic stuff, I can't just drop in stuff I've already written, because that music is, specifically hitting certain things. And so with the comedic stuff, I like to start from scratch so that I can definitely hit moments that are funny and makes it more interesting. So, I mean, pretty much almost every scene on this show I've written, and some of my composer friends are like, why don't you just reuse stuff you've already written? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just, I feel lazy when I do that. I don't think it helps the story.
Can I just step in here? Maybe it's kind of letting go of a quote exclusive here from cult fans, but I think everyone here would lose it if you gave us a didgeridoo solo again.
I was going to say that actually. Yeah.
To play it right now?
If you're up to it.
Well, why not?
I'm not gonna put a gun to your head. So
I mean, me could always duet me now.
I could do it. I could go right over there and get mine. The funny thing, while he gets this, I had literally said to myself when I was rearranging my house, I'm going to leave this here, and while I leave this here, someday it will be relevant. A guest will spot it or something, and it'll be my moment. And literally on the first Cult Fans podcast, he starts talking about when I'm like, this is it. This is my moment. This is why I left this here. But
well, I guess mean, I don't want to insult, the people that play these professionally because I don't feel like I know what I'm doing on it. I'm just making a sound.
Sounds are cool. Make a sound, bruh.
I'll try it again. Hold on. I don't know.
That's
I feel like I just met the
awesome. And
elephant man.
I do want to reach out because the audience is loving you, dude. They love hearing that you make unique stuff like that, and that everybody has a theme that's unique. So I just wanted to kind of let you know.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, I think I'm coming from scoring more films than TV, so I'm just kind of used. I think I'm kind of used to it doing that. So, in a sense, I guess I've been, writing the music to the show like I would write a film. Very thematic and more, I guess, more cinematic than rather television style kind of music. I don't know if that's good or bad.
It works really well.
It does. Yeah, I loved your music. It's very much you. It's unique, but it does have that spirit that people love about like Hans Zimmer, but it is still distinctly yours. So it's not like you're just, Hans Zimmer the second. But you managed to get that vein that people love in the spirit of his music at a lot of times, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, well, thanks. I mean,
What character or characters do you like? Do you have the most fun doing scenes for?
Well, I mean, it's always fun writing, Talon's heroic moments, but the unfortunate part with that is, it's always during a fight, so of course there's a lot of sound effects over it, and it's not really heard much. So, I enjoy doing those. I mean, the big scene that I was working on in episode 10 was a lot of, heroic moments and stuff, and so I was surprised. I tweeted today, the CW posted that scene from episode 5 when she's fighting the guy on the bridge and stuff, and I hadn't, like I was saying yesterday, I hadn't watched episode 5 yet, and I was actually surprised how loud the music was turned up in that scene when she's fighting the guy and everything, so that kind of made me feel better. I was kind of worried it was going to be buried under all the fight sounds, but I mean, that was like a fun scene to write because it was very heroic and her, kicking butt and stuff.
Yeah, that's the one I was referring to when I said to you about that yesterday, James.
Yeah.
When I said about the rooftop, and I noticed it a lot because there was more fighting and less dialogue. Yeah, that was the scene that I was referring to when I told you about that.
Yeah, it sounded good. I mean, like the first episode, the very beginning, and that when they're gambling, and then the Prime Order comes in and says, no gambling allowed, and Talon starts fighting and all that. I don't know. Like I felt like that one was, that was like the. I don't want to speak ill of anyone, but that was like, I felt like the moment I introduced Talon's, heroic theme, and it was just kind of buried under sound effects. So obviously that was kind of, unfortunate. But
I actually agree, and I don't mean to insult anyone, because when a show is coming together, there's a lot of things that with the different departments and everything pitching a pilot, and I felt your music. I felt it in my core, and I was like, I feel almost like I'm hearing too much of the breathing and everything going on. And let's face it, people breathe. Like if you see, if there's a pre-cut audio track, like I'm sure you hear it all the time. Probably about half of what you're mixing over is hearing like, and people don't think about that.
Well, the nice thing is I have a fader I can turn down the dialogue.
Mhm.
So All right, if they're speaking, I keep it up there because, like I was saying yesterday, I have to write the instruments around the dialogue so that it doesn't clash frequency wise. But if there's no fighting, if there's no dialogue and it's just them running around and stuff, then that's when I go crazy with the instruments and make it loud. What was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. You had a good point. You were talking about the first episode. I was gonna say, yeah. I mean the one of my composer friends who saw it was asking me about the Plagueling music, and like in the first episode, and he was saying how there's like this real screechy sound going on, and he was asking if that was part of the score, and I was like, no way, I didn't add that. So
That's not me, dude.
yeah. So I mean, unfortunately, at least I don't know. Maybe it sounds better on other people's sound systems, but when I'm watching it with my headphones on the CW app, like I couldn't really hear the Plagueling music behind there, which like I did some real cool sound effecty music stuff for. It was all covered up by that sound. So every time there is a Plagueling scene in other episodes, I'm sure it's going to be the same thing.
I would like to let you know you have a big fan in the audience, Adapted Batteries. They've been saying, they were the one who mentioned liking the unique themes, but they also love the music for the cinematic feel. You said you were kind of almost worried about the transition. We do really. Adapted Batteries also said when the music for the first fight scene was heard, they had a big smile on their face because it just felt like it fits so well to the show, and I have to agree. You're great at what you do, dude.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate it. I mean, it's like I said, I've been putting a lot of writing every single note, making it sound the best, even if I know it's going to be kind of in the background behind swords and fist fights and stuff, but I still want it to sound good, even if it's just pleasing myself. Kind of thing.
People don't even realize how much it sculpts what we're perceiving, though. And it really is a huge factor of the show that people often overlook. So I do love seeing people like Adapted Batteries, whoever you might be, that appreciate the work you put in.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it that it's appreciated, because like I was saying yesterday, I sit by myself in my office and I work, and I don't really, I don't have the type of job where I get to mingle with people. So, and then stuff I do will go out and air and be on, a movie or a TV or whatever. And I don't really hear much about anything. So it's nice when, people like yourselves or people listening, enjoy what I do. So thank you for everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, honestly, because that's why I started this, and that's why we did this for librarians too, is because we just love talking to people that don't always get to to have their voice heard, because we know that TV especially is such a collaborative industry that everybody works really hard, and we are really thankful to every single person who's put in work on the show, especially the really talented ones like yourself.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean it's been a lot of work, but it's been fun, and it's nice that there's fans out there of the show. So hopefully we'll get a second season.
I think I'm on the hype on Twitter via Sci-Fi UK. The UK is definitely picking up the hype at the moment, from what I could see last night.
Did it air last night?
No, but Sci-Fi UK has been running promos for like the past 3 days, and so I was tweeting like everyone that commented and saying, "Hey, this, yeah." I was like tweeting every UK fan that was replying to the post, and I was like, "Hey, there's the Order the Outpost, there's Cult fans, and then there's the Facebook group. So go follow it all." And like someone was like, "Oh, there's no more content. I'm like, yes, there is. There's plenty more content. That's why we're doing this.
One thing I would like to actually suggest, maybe Kira, this is just an idea. This one is your podcast. See about hosting like a group, because not everyone might want to see it. Like they might have already watched the pilot like 8,000 times at this point if they're like us. So rather than that, maybe we can get a trending party together of the hardcore fans that can really get out here and buzz and talk while the UK is airing, and see about helping it trend.
Good idea. We'll talk more about it in the chat as opposed to on air, but we should definitely try and help them trend internationally whenever we can.
Figured we'd let the people in the audience at least hear, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for sure we should. The thing about international shows is that it's a little bit stressful when they're staggered out, because everybody doesn't really know what's going on all the time, you know what I mean? And people will be in the UK and they'll be like, I thought the show was out. What's going on, So I hope that we get a second season, and I even hope that we get expanded, because 10 episodes is good, but I feel like they have more. If they had like, I don't know, maybe like 12 episodes, it would be they could have a little bit more room for character growth, interpersonal development, because I really like the way they put everything together, but I feel like there are a lot of like implied moments, you know what I mean, that we could access. Like, not everything has to be on screen, but there are other things, like the conversation between Gwen and Garrett that we never saw regarding Talon, or we never saw how Talon felt about having to have Talon executed. She was probably upset, I'm really excited to see, what's up with Withers, because every time he's on screen, he does something messed up, but you're not that mad at him, because you're like, I guess
you understand.
You're like,
it's
why
wrong,
did you do that? I love Dano. I love Withers and Dano so much. They're so funny. Like, in this episode, I started, like, not to be that person, but I honestly started shipping them, because I was like, literally, I love that they just talk to each other without having to talk. And then he's like, I can
see, that's what the fan fiction gap is for, Kira.
You're so right. Yeah, you're so right. That's what it's for. That's the purpose. That's our prerogative. I've already wrote some, Talon and Janzo missing scenes, but like, we get so much screen time for them. You know what I mean? Like, they're so cute. Like, I love them together, no matter what relationship they have. I love that Talon is like, you're so different from me, but I want to protect you.
Jalen is endgame, I swear to God. Like, I swear, because, like, Captain Dimples is over here, as Anon calls him, and, he's your classic, but then we've got Janzo, who's everything Talon needs, no matter how hard he's friend-zoned right now.
And then and he's not even friend-zoned. If anything, Garrett is definitely the one who's friend-zoned. Like, that's why it's funny, because literally it was...
She's friend-zoned everybody.
Yeah, she's like, Gwen and I are just friends, and then Withers just like, you literally woke up in between her legs. Like, what? What? Like, what's going on? I love how Talon just came into this town and just disrupted everything. I think, whenever I watch a show, I think about what it's like to live in that world, but not be the main character, but be near the main character, and you don't really know what's going on.
Remember when Thor came on your group, he summarized the Outpost, and everything that happens in the Outpost is Talon's fault.
Yeah, right? Like, it's all, like, you could have stood... But it's so funny, because imagine, like, you're like that washer lady that got killed by the demon. You just see, like, this chick who's getting, like, involved with the infamous couple. Because, like, Garrett and Gwen are the on and off couple that have been together since, medieval high school, I guess. But they're so ridiculous, and everyone's just like, just leave, just get a room, we don't care, you know what I mean, because they're just like, we can't stand you. But then Talon shows up, and she's not only like somehow involved with Garrett, like Gwen is dragging her around town, and they're wearing each other's clothes and making
waking up
huge
together.
Scene. Yeah, making a huge scene, dancing on tables together. And so everyone's just like, what's going on? And then I loved, my favorite scene this whole episode was when the mistress stuck her head down when Janzo and Talon were down there. And Janzo was like, and then she was like, did you see me? And the mistress was like, I'm so proud of you. You finally got a hussy. But, like, we know hussy like, excuse my French, but we know, like, if this show was, like, on HBO, she straight up would have been like, you finally got some pussy. Congratulations.
I don't know. And the thing is, though, she calls it a hussy, and he lies about it being like a barmaid or something. But then she immediately reports to the guard where Talon is, so she knew.
She knew. She's like, I know who that is. I'm not blind. And you know what's a little bit confusing to me, and it's probably just because this needs to be a little bit more of a family-friendly show. Like in all of the typed out stuff, like the chat thing, like the cast call for Janzo, it specifically states that he's raised in a brothel, but we only get a little bit of the brothel side of Mistress's whole game. Because she's focused on Calypso, and like, because she definitely mentions the Talon when she first sees her in the dress. She's like, oh. And then Talon is like, no. And she meant more than dancing, because it's so it just makes me wonder, like, where is everyone else? Like, where are all the rest of, like, because we've seen some of Mistress's children, but I feel like she has
head is in a bag.
Yeah, one kid's head is in a bag. Where are the rest of her kids? Right?
Those girls that the guys were checking.
Yeah, because there's some, because the mistress mentioned some girls hanging around, but we just don't see them.
Well, I know this doesn't give away much of the story, and like I said, it's nice hearing you guys' theories and then knowing what really happens. But I'll just say in later episodes, you find out more about the mistress and Janzo's history with her.
I'm excited because it's intriguing.
I'm not giving anything away with that, but I'm just saying that it does. Later episodes do answer some questions that you guys have.
That's good, because otherwise we would have we could like be like, I guess we won't really find out till season 2. Fiction. Right? We won't know. Fiction. Yeah, but like, I'm glad we're gonna get the answer, because I can't tell. That's the thing about her and Withers. I can't tell how much they care about themselves compared to their children, quote unquote. Because sometimes it seems like they care, and other times it really doesn't. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting, especially with Janzo and the mistress. Like, Janzo seems to want her, like, approval, but she seems to not care, even state that she loves her children until it's convenient to guilt someone else. Like, she said to Janzo, I didn't love Bill, and then she turns around and says to the worm, how could you kill my son that I loved so much? I doubt that. Like, I feel like she doesn't care. I feel like she only got these kids for free child labor, which isn't shocking.
Yeah, like I said, you'll find out about her story later.
She probably has her own tragic backstory. She probably was, on the streets herself, and now she's like, you should be grateful to me. Power. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything.
But it's, what's interesting to me is I have this feeling that she's going to try and take over this drug trade stuff, and she'll almost succeed, but then
bite her back.
Yeah, but something bad will happen, and Janzo will get stuck with all the responsibility, and he'll have not wanted to be a drug lord, but then he'll suddenly be the drug lord, and he'll be like, you know what I mean? Like, Janzo will suddenly be in charge of all the Calypso.
Accidental drug lord.
Yeah, he's like, I just wanted to make ale. What's going on? Which I think would just be amazing. You know what I mean? Like, having that power forced onto someone would just be so entertaining, especially if it was kind of a Walter White thing, and then the rest of this, like, we got to, like, if he lost, the rest of his family, and he was forced to take on responsibility, and if stuff gets crazy with this rebellion, it would be cool. Like, I was thinking maybe the reason that they're showing us Janzo being so intense about even someone bad being killed because of him, it's so bad, it's so hard for him. I was thinking maybe the reason they're really, pushing that was so that it would be even more dramatic if he, like, ends up killing someone later to protect Talon, if he goes against what, we thought were his solid values. We thought that was the kind of person he was. And then, he gets put in a situation where he has to protect Talon or something, and then he has to change who he is. I think that would be really interesting. Like, he has to be the one to drive a knife through someone's heart. That would be hard for him, but I think he cares about Talon enough. I could see him doing it. I don't know. It's you never know until you're in the situation. So I'd like to see him in harder situations.
Test his limits. His limits.
Sorry, Janzo, but I want them to break you.
Speaking of like accidental drug lords, can we talk briefly? It's not quite episode recap, but about accidental Genzo. Did anyone see Anand's interview on Build where he was talking about he was originally going in for Garrett as a role? We almost got Anand. We almost got Anand as Garrett, but then he looked at the script, and Anand apparently called. Janzo apparently called to Anand. Like he was like, "This one, I want this one," and his agent was like, "Are you sure Garrett's the lead male?" And he's like, "I want this one."
And I bet he was like, "But is he? But is he really?" But you know, that's what I think. I love.
Imagine.
Both of them.
Can you imagine, like, if we had Anand in the armor and Garrett in like the brewer outfit and the glasses hunched over like this?
Someone has to draw that. Now I'm gonna die.
I'm going to cry at her until she does it with her chibis.
We'll both harass our artist girlfriends, and whichever one draws it first wins. You know what I mean? My girlfriend's in Portland right now because she went to see Haley Kiyuko without me, like a traitor. But Jesse's so mad right now. Jesse's like, "And you didn't break up?"
I miss Portland, for the record. Off topic, but beautiful area.
It's interesting to me that Dean went from being involved with the show that was made in Portland, to being involved with the show that's made in Utah. But the vibes for everyone's so happy to be making stuff in their place and to be supporting each other. I love seeing local film industries really band together. That's one of my favorite things about this stuff is how everyone turns into a community in these places. Even if I'm really far away, I'm like, good for you.
Doesn't Aerostorm actually operate occasionally out of Utah, or am I incorrect on that, James?
I feel like Mythica was in Utah. It looks like it was in Utah. If I think back to all, I don't know. It seems like it was, but I'm not a Mythica expert. I'm a fan, but not an expert.
Mythica.
James was on Mythica.
Aerostorm is in Utah, and all of Mythica was filmed in Utah.
That explains it.
So pretty much all the films I work on are filmed in Utah.
Because I had noticed you worked on all of them, and they pretty much all source out of Utah. And I noticed you even won your award out in Utah. Which one was it? The Utah Films. Which one was that?
Oh, I didn't win that. Every year, Utah has their own kind of Academy Award kind of thing. But
you were nominated. That's what it was.
Yeah, they nominate me every year and for some film, and I never win.
Aww.
No, not that of course it's nice to be nominated, but I don't know. I don't know the reason, but they just kind of, I don't know. They put feature films up against short films. So
that's not even fair. Okay, so new plan. We all move to Utah. We move in at Josh's Evermore crash, and we all vote for James to win win his nomination in the Utah Festival.
That's a great plan.
It's as nice as that would be. It's not that big of a deal. It's the filmed in Utah awards are, I'm sure they're nice and big in Utah because I'm not in Utah. I'm in California, but
I'm just looking for an excuse to go to Evermore. I'm going to be honest.
I'm sure they're probably popular up there, but I kind of, the first time I was nominated, I went, and after that, I was just kind of like, I really don't care about this.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, actually, the set designer, costume designer, weapon designer, Joshua Todd, is opening a amusement park that's fantasy themed out in Utah.
Oh, cool. Wow, that must be...
That's what Evermore is.
Yeah, I really want to go there.
Yeah.
Want to go so bad.
We want to go.
Have a lot of money to do that.
I'm just gonna move in, set up a tent in the bathroom. If he wants, he can put me to work. I'll run the concession stand dressed as the fat elf on staff. I don't know,
Well, I hate to do this, but I should probably get back to work. Unless anyone has any other questions, I just wanted to pop in and say hey, real fast. like I said, I'm kind of behind on because I set my own daily goals on how much I need to write so that I don't get fired.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of behind today because of that whole power outage thing. So
Well, we
thank
don't
you
want to
so
cost
much
you
for
your
talking
job.
to us. Yeah,
Us.
it's for sure. Yeah, it's totally fine. Like, does anyone have any more questions for James before he departs? No, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. You're welcome again anytime, and I hope you keep watching at least, throughout the season because we're gonna keep talking about it. That's for sure.
yeah, well, I mean, I think once I'm done with 10, I'll obviously have more time to even watch the episodes themselves. you know, so that'll be nice. Just right now, I'm just between Outpost and obviously wanting to spend time with my kids so they know who I am.
That might be nice.
Yeah. I think really quick, I forgot what it was. Someone was mentioning about having my work at home or something like that. I don't remember if it was on the.
It was on Cult Fans.
Yeah. It's kind of not really, or I guess that's a double negative. It's semi-normal for composers to have their studios at their house. Some don't, but some do. Just because it's convenient, and also you don't have to pay money to rent a building kind of thing, when you can just have a room. So, I mean, at least in my case, I can't afford to not, have my so-called studio at my house. It's just, I mean, it'd be nice someday to have like a back house, in the backyard where I could just separate myself, but I'm still where my family's at kind of thing. But for the time being, my office is just one of the bedrooms at our house, and it's small, but gets the job done. But, anyway, just to answer that question, I remember someone was asking kind of.
I think my dad works from home for like my whole life, and so we would always just like tiptoe around that part of the house.
Yeah. Well, I think I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they don't understand that yet. They just walk in when I'm in the middle of recording or something.
They'll learn.
My 2-year-old daughter, she just walks in and starts banging on the piano as I'm recording a part in, and obviously it's cute and stuff, but I'm always around my kids, and I mean in a good way. Like if I had an office somewhere else, I would probably not see them as much, and I don't want to do that. I want them to know their dad and everything. So I try to spend a lot of time with them. I mean, they're not here right now, so I'm able to get some quiet time in and get some work done. But when they are here, I like to spend time with them.
Well, again, thank you for showing up to Kira's podcast, and I do want to let people know, Cult Fans did recently. If you check the channel, there's a long thing talking about all the ins and outs of music, and a link to his website, which is james-schafer.com. You can check him out, give him a listen, sample his work, and I mean, it's great work.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm hoping, when I'm, I need to ask the producers, but I'm hoping that they'll let me put up some of the music from the Outpost on my website so people can hear it.
I would love that.
I
want to make fan videos to the actual soundtrack.
That would be cool.
I need to find out. Like I said, I don't want to just post something and they don't like that. I mean, they're just, when it comes to this kind of stuff, contracts are just super thick, and so I need to make sure it's okay before I do anything like that. And I need to make sure, obviously, it's okay before I do stuff like this, where I can say only so much about the show and not get, in trouble, kind of thing. So, but anyway, I'll get going. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the rest of your show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, everyone have a good day, evening, morning, wherever you are.
Yeah, our time zones are pretty crazy.
Yeah, for
It's
me,
9 o'clock.
It's dinner time for me, so I need to go do that and then get back to work. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Well, that was cool.
It really was.
Yes, he does such a good job. Like, he really enhances the mise en scène of every scene to the, like, really brings it all together.
One thing I also found really interesting during the Cult Fans podcast was he mentioned, like, well, yes, characters have specific themes. He touched on it today.
Mhm.
That he modifies them. For example, there's actually a melodic theme for the Lakiri that, you know, he loves the theme for it, but there are certain moments where, you know, having this nice melodic fantasy tone doesn't work because the things like beating on cages and having dramatic cliffhangers, so he'll have to decide on an impulse to, you know, use a lot of synth that is just very raw or something like that. And he has great instinct for that.
Yeah, like, you know, it's, I really like, I kind of understood what he was saying because, like, it's when I go to edit video, like, there are, like, you can, like, there are presets, and then you can, like, basically code out in, like, your own things to do certain animations, and then you can, like, save those and, like, repeat them even if you're doing the same thing for every time. But even though I know that would make it easier, I never do that. I always start from scratch. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do. Like, I can't just repeat myself.
Feelings, like, I'm literally logged in on my Outpost videos, and I've got, like, different fandom edit accounts for different fandoms. Feelings, like, I could make my life easier, but there's a part that's part of the art. Like, sometimes you'll save a couple of presets because they do good by you, but other than that,
Yeah.
you have to.
It's sometimes it seems like more effort to edit a preset than to start from scratch.
Right?
So it makes sense to me that it makes more sense to start from scratch than to try and modify a sound you already made entirely. Like, it seems like it's a pretty universal thing. Like, probably if you're even editing a book, I doubt that you want to do certain things. So, you know, I think my favorite thing about this episode was the relationships. You know, we got everyone accusing, you know, Talon and Gwen of being together last episode, right? And that was all awesome. But this episode, we had this interesting scene where Talon was talking with Janzo, right? And, like, flirting with him and, like, openly saying that, yeah, she likes him. And she even tried to, like, make a move on him, but then he, like, left. And then Garrett materializes out of nowhere and was like, never do that again. And then Talon turns around and she was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. And I was rewatching that and I realized they weren't talking about what, you know, she thought that Garrett meant don't ever hit on Janzo again. So she thought that Garrett just showed up and was being jealous. And she was like, I didn't see you there, as if she just, like, doesn't care. You know what I mean?
Jealous boyfriend pop up.
Yeah,
line.
she's like, I don't care. And I thought that was great. I really want to see more of Janzo and Garrett because they're so funny, and I'm really glad that Garrett, you know, when he found out about the demon thing, obviously he was like, what's going on? Especially since it seemed like she could control it. Like, I totally understand why he was flipped out, but I was worried he was going to kind of be a bigot about it because we don't really, when people do know about the Black Bloods, they either, you know, think they're cool or they hate them. So. But it was really cool that Garrett kind of, like, was open-minded about it, but he didn't tell Gwen. But now it's like, I was looking at the descriptions on IMDb for the next 2 episodes, and we've seen the promo for the next episode. So we know something's going to go down with she's trying to get rid of the demon, and then at the same time she's going with Janzo and the mistress to figure out who these suppliers are. So Talon's going to be like their hired brawn. She's going to be protecting them, so she's going to get involved in this Calypso plot line to protect Janzo. So that's going to be... What, Jesse?
What if it is her brother who's selling the Calypso?
That would be weird.
What if it's totally a Lakiri? No, I'm joking.
I feel like it's the Grayskins. Personally, I feel like we don't know much about the Grayskins, but I feel like if anyone wants, to maybe the Plagueling and the Grayskin theory, or but maybe that's maybe it makes them more susceptible to the plagueling virus. So that's why the Greyskins are manufacturing it and selling it to them so that they'll be easier to take down.
I just want to throw out here too, Adapted Batteries has a really great question for you to discuss.
Ooh.
Do you think Garrett thought about telling Talon about Gwen before he just let her jump to conclusions?
What? I didn't
said,
exactly.
Adapted Batteries asked, do you think Garrett thought about telling Talon about Gwen before he just let her jump to conclusions?
I totally think he thought about it because he could tell. He could tell that this was a problem. He could tell how hurt Talon was and how hurt Gwen was. She had to do it, and how it totally wasn't Gwen's fault. And he can tell that this situation is getting more and more intense. You know, and even if he said, "Oh, stay away from her," he can't stop them from caring about each other. And since he cares about both of them, it's double worse for him. Basically, he's in between a rock and a hard place on every level.
And, you know, Jake is a consummate actor, and it's very similar to the vein he hit on in a previous episode when Withers was talking about, you know, betraying the royals and how dare Kel'Thuzar. And Garrett hit on that with, you know nothing of loyalty. And you could tell it was eating at him to even not tell Withers, much less Talon. In this episode, you see the same turmoil manifesting on him. And
yeah, this secret stuff seems to really get to Garrett. And that's why I mentioned I saw the descriptions on IMDb, because the description for the episode after the next one talks about how Garrett gets, he gets forced to hold an even bigger secret than the ones he already has. So apparently he's going to have an even bigger secret forced upon him, and that problem's going to get worse. So that's going to be really interesting. And I keep thinking, what secret could that be? Maybe he finds something out about the Mistress and Janzo, and he has to stay quiet. You know, like maybe it has to do with the Calypso. Maybe it has to do with maybe it's Withers. Maybe he finds out that Withers killed the handmaiden, and he doesn't want his dad to get executed.
To Gwen too. Maybe it's finally dealing with the ramifications of running with this secret for so long.
That seemed, yeah. It like in the next episode, it talks about Gwen's identity gets revealed, as if maybe Talon will find out next episode, and then the episode after that is the one that talks about the big secret. So I'm wondering. I don't know. I feel like all these secrets are converging, but what is bigger than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
On a lesser note, I was wondering if anyone noticed how many times they said gods know in episode 5. So I wonder if they explained the lore of the gods that they believe in.
Yeah, I
Game of Thrones has this
first episode.
Yeah, Game of Thrones has like the 7 or whatever. But yeah, there's obviously more than one, but I'm wondering if we actually get that fleshed out at some stage.
What could be fun is what if the Lakiri are actually, because we think of gods like God and Angel and the demon or whatever.
About that.
But the Smith had mentioned you call it a demon, but it is a Lakiri. What if the Lakiri are even a branch, like a race that follows a god that's a darker god, and it's a scary thing, but that could be fun.
What if that's the Emperor that they're talking about? You know, like that he doesn't. If they're supposed to, if they all are compelled, like biologically, on a biological level, to listen to whatever that bloodline says, that bloodline's very obviously is different than normal Lakiri. It's extra. You know, like she's the Black Bloods are somehow a hybrid between these two races. But here's the thing. They call them demons, but they're really Lakiri. But we don't know if they're aliens or if they're interdimensional beings or if we don't, because they were banished to the realm they're currently in. We don't know if they originally came from there. We don't know if they originally came from Earth and were forced to go there. You know, we don't know if it's a loop. We don't know if they came from somewhere else and then came to Earth and then were banished here. You know, we don't know if that really bad place is their origin place, or if Earth is their origin place. What if Earth, you know, is origin place of both the Greyskins, humans, and and maybe stuff we don't even know about yet at this point in time. And this one race just got banished to this place. And as far as the gods go, we don't know if, they say God, and it seems like, they're just talking about their pantheon of gods that probably aren't real. But knowing Mythica, and stuff, I doubt it. I doubt that that's a coincidence. If they call them these things demons, and they're someone managed. I'm just gonna say it. Someone fucked a demon. When did that happen? Right?
Right.
Like, did they? Was it scientists back before the apocalypse? Did someone, petri dish the black bloods, or did someone fuck a demon? That's what I want to know. What we have to know.
We have to know for science.
Yeah, we have
While
to
we're
know.
on the topic of that, the Playboy Janzo, when he told his mother that he was in the throes of passion,
That was
with
so.
Talon.
Oh my god.
That was the best moment, honestly, when she was
Was
just smoking weed, and she's like, "I'm so proud of you," and he's like, "I guess I'll take this."
Was it during your podcast, Kira, that you also came up with a theory that maybe the Prime Order is trying to stop a prophecy because it could be that the Empire is supposed to marry off their queen to the last surviving of the Black Bloods, and then it's like, surprise, by the way, it's a chick. Have a great time with that. Awesome. Thumbs up.
Also the fact
I don't know if that makes sense, because the Prime Order doesn't seem to be a monarchy. It seems to be a military coup that took
Prime
over.
Order isn't, but they overthrew the royals, so it would be in their
Oh,
interest
you meant
to
the
stop
royals.
that kind of prophecy.
the only thing
Yeah.
is, though, remember we found out that Gwyn is actually dead.
Well,
What?
Gwen, yes.
Oh, yeah,
When I
Gwen
say
is
Child
dead.
is dead.
Rosamund.
Oh.
She's technically
Rosamund.
Rosamund or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my
Although we
gosh,
can only
rose
Gwyn for the sake
petals.
of.
And that's kind of like I feel like the rose petals were foreshadowing to her name being Rosamund. Like it's a
That's
theme.
right. Very tactful design. We should thank whoever. I know Josh is our general set designer, but I don't know who actually
But the people who control the props and stuff like that, and plus it was probably written in. Like, we don't know at what level the rose petals were put in, so we wouldn't know who to thank directly at this point. So just thanks for the rose petals. They were cool. Also,
thank you for the rose petals, guys.
I also thank you for the rose petals, hands down, because not only were they aesthetically pleasing, not only do they fit her theme, it was gay. That was
very
gay.
gay.
Like, because roses literally are the symbol of love, and she just was like showered her with rose petals. That's Roman. Like I was like, what's happening, and that's what's so interesting, because like everybody has so much covered. I ship Withers and the Mistress a lot, actually. They're so entertaining to me. You know what I mean? Like, they're
that's
kind of.
That's a no TP. It's like, I kind of hate them, so I don't want to ship them, but they're a perfect match.
Yeah, and you're like, I hate them, but they're so good together. They deserve each other, Like, they're so entertaining. It seems like they're perfect for each other. But also, that would make Janzo and Garrett brothers if they technically got married, right? Like, that would be hilarious. Janzo and Garrett would be so mad. They'd be, not, like, technically, they'd be like adopted step
brothers 3 times removed,
like,
or something.
yeah, like the kind of thing where everyone you could still fuck and everyone would be like, I guess, whatever.
They weren't raised together. They're not blood. That's fine.
Like, what's that movie, Lone Star State of Mind? That's so funny. That's a great movie.
Oh my god, that movie.
Yeah, that's a classic Texas comedy.
Wow. Okay.
That's
I've
a
never
hilarious
seen that
movie.
but you always bring it up.
Yeah, I always bring it up because it's a good movie. Just like Mythic is a good movie.
Plug.
Plug, yeah. I like comedies, which is, oh my gosh. I hope we see Munt again. He's cool. I want him back. Like, where's Munt?
Munt's actually going to be on Cult Fans, and we'll see. We'll see if we can put him over here too.
Definitely invite him.
Find up Cult Fans though, so if you're interested in Munt, make sure to tune in. We'll be announcing his schedule soon.
Mm-hmm.
We're at an hour now. Yeah, if you go to the website at cultfans.com and subscribe, you should be able to keep up to date. Yes. You may have to check for the spam for the notification at the moment, but well, working on that. But yeah, we announced on the website last night that Adam will be joining us. He's also been on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I scrubbed through the episodes last night to try and find him, and it's very difficult to find him. Like, he's got all of, like, I think about 10 seconds of screen time in the 2 episodes. But yeah, from what I can gather from Adam, Munt should be in the next several episodes towards the end of the season, I think.
I'm
I think
excited.
IMDb has him listed for 7 or 8, I believe.
So we're at pretty much an hour mark here, so let's just wrap up with our final thoughts for this episode. It was so great to see her finally beat someone, to have that really great victory
And
over
not
Stretch.
get stabbed.
Yeah, and I love the expansion of the goal. Now that her goal, that whole sword thing, that was one of my favorite dialogue moments in this whole show. I loved that conversation. I loved how the demon was like, at the end, he was like, "Yes, bitch." You know what I mean? He was like, "Yes, you did it." At first, he was like, "Let me at him. Let me rip him apart. Let me do it." And then he was like, "I guess you got this. You did it." I really, honestly, I really want Humphrey's redemption. Like, Noru, which is his
Humphrey's
name.
redemption.
Yeah, I feel like he's misunderstood. I say
He's
that
just
knowing
trying
full
to get
well
his
he just
pals
dragged
out
random
of hell or
citizens through the
wherever
streets
they're at.
and disemboweled them for fun, right?
He's just trying to free his fam, man.
Yeah, he's
totally
just trying to get him
misunderstood.
out. He doesn't know what to do. It's not his fault they got banished to hell, which is what I'm really interested. Like, what happened? That's what, because we know that they have a set mythology for this. So I want to know so bad. Where did the demons come from? Where did the black ones come from? Why is the moon burning? Why is
the moon burning?
Yeah, why is the moon on fire? What? Question mark. What?
Okay, a thought. So he said how it's passed from father to son to mother to daughter.
Yeah.
So is there another black blood who could do that? That's alive.
That's literally my thought. He didn't say or. I thought maybe, or maybe it's just between family. But I'm like, I thought maybe we don't know where her father is. We don't know if her brother seemed dead, but it really
We haven't seen her father.
It literally stuck out to me that we didn't see her brother get killed.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't seen her father either.
And we haven't seen her father at all. And, and plus the Smith didn't know a lot. He seemed to barely know stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Who said she has a father, though? She might have 2 mothers.
I mean,
I guess
maybe.
we don't know black blood physiology. I'd say it's no female species, but she has a brother.
Maybe she has a trans mother who impregnated me. We don't know the level. Maybe Black Blood Society is more queer than anything else, and that's why everyone hated them and called them skags. It's a queer slur. Homophobia.
Adapted Battery says we need Humphrey to become the 5th member of the group.
Yeah, I literally think about it all the time about how I think that the show's the cliffhanger everyone talks about. I feel like the show's going to end with the Primorders going to be riding on the Outpost, ready to take them down. Okay, that means that we have 2 options, reasonably. The only way it can have
we'll have an all-out war, most likely.
The only way that we can have that much action is if we have a full-out confrontation, and that's either going to happen in the Outpost or at the Capitol. So either the Prime Order will try and infiltrate the Outpost, or that left turn he was talking about is them suddenly leaving to go to this Capitol they talk about. But I doubt that, since the show is called The Outpost. We've already taken out most of the bones, especially Shek, right? And we've revealed Gwen's identity. And in the preview for the next episode, Gwen was like, "We dare not wait any longer." So I think that was talking about this revolution is happening now. It's happening. It's going down.
I mean, there's something from. I think it's episode 8 is the one Sonali's not in. So I'm wondering whether that's either going to be all flashback. Yeah. Because the only reason Sonali comes in at the end of 6 for 5-10 seconds from what I gather.
And
then she's got episode 7. Then she's got episode 7, 9, and 10, and episode 8. And going from what James said, episode 8 might be the flashback of Janzo and his mother, or
Talon's family, maybe, and there she,
Yeah, I mean, there is room for Talon's family because, as James pointed out in the Cult Fans one yesterday, they originally had a different beginning, and it was going to go chronologically, introducing Talon as a child through to an adult, rather than the way they did it with flashbacks back and forth between starting off with adult, then back to kid, then back to adult, and so on. They were going to do it chronologically originally, but apparently something happened and they changed that idea. I would hope at least they give us that version even on the DVD release, so we can see the difference of the intro.
Maybe
Because
it's something
pilots
we can
always have two
discover.
versions.
What if it? But that could be something we actually spend time to explore too. Because the thing is, I understand the need for brevity because they were looking for pure momentum for the first 10 episodes because they got a short order. So now, they've got a lot to wrap in a way that just in case they don't get a green light, they don't leave us wanting to stab them. But at the same time, they're looking also at planning out a season 2, so we may get a heavy reveal for Talon, but that also may be something we still continue to discover through season 2. And I would love to still continue to follow their growing stories rather than sort of reaching a peak where we've mostly figured out their past and now things.
Yeah, there's so much more to go into later,
I mean, honestly, worst case
win.
Worst case scenario, we could always go fund me. We could always do like a Kickstarter for season 2.
For sure. We kickstarted Mythica. That's how Mythica got off the ground, if I recall correctly, right?
Like you think if Mythica got the green light, this same fandom pretty much would not be willing to get out there and Kickstarter it again. We will get season 2. I don't care if it takes 3 years.
Right? Like we will fight.
I'll happily put my hand up to write the season.
I realized the other day, I looked at the CW and I was like, wait a minute. The Outpost really is the only original show on this whole channel. Like, everything's spin-offs of something, everything is based off of something else. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, and Supernatural, I think.
Supernatural, but it's 14 years old.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
My own sanity. We're not talking about that.
We don't talk
about that. That's literally like based off itself at this point. Like it's this weird causality loop of horrendousness at this point. It's trying to relive its first 5 years of glory, but it's not working.
No. There's a part of the fandom that's trying to relive the first 3 years of glory, and they spend the next 10 years yelling about the other content, and everyone else is just like, I like things now. Like, well, you're not a true fan.
Yeah, like
before we,
I hope we never get to the if the Outpost gets popular.
We're not going to let that happen here.
I hope we don't get to the point.
No, well, you got to remember. You got to remember that we are the fandom, which is rare for people to be able to say. Like, we literally built the fandom. I created the ship name. Yeah,
the show was coming out.
Yeah,
we were like,
yeah.
I mean, like before it even aired.
I created the hashtag for Talon and Gwyn. The group created the wiki. Then, I created Cult Fans, a spin-off of that for the interviews. And, we've very much... I made the Outpost group on Facebook. We've built this fandom from the ground. And so we can dictate how this goes.
I just looked. There are officially 4... I put up 3. Okay, there are officially 4.
There are 4.
So yeah, we've got the wiki, we've got Cult Fans, we've got Order of the Outpost, and the Outpost fans on Facebook. So
there's also Outpost Source.
That's the unofficial news site, I believe.
A hard worker.
Also, as I think she's not actually in the chat, I do want to give a shout out to Sonali, who is currently on her way to her first theatre screening of Voodoo Vanessa.
Yeah. Gosh. We're so proud
of her. Speaking of Voodoo Vanessa, for the fans that are on here, because I know some haven't quite made the jump to Cult Fans yet as well, Cult Fans has an exclusive interview one-on-one with Sonali and potentially a special guest about Voodoo Vanessa this Friday. Due to the hiatus, we brought it forward. And so, besides the podcast with Kira for the round table and theory discussion, there's also the exclusive Voodoo Vanessa interview with Sonali herself on Friday, and if that's not good enough, we will have Sonali the following Friday with Trent Taylor, one of the stuntmen, I believe. As a listening, we've got Voodoo Vanessa with Sonali this coming Friday, and then the following Friday. So that would be post episode 6, I believe. So I think Kira's looking at a shift to potentially Wednesdays for this, for the round table for this.
To the middle of
So
the week.
I believe episode 6 week, when that airs on the 21st. The 22nd will be this podcast for Roundtable. And then Friday, I think, is the 25th, will be the interview with Sonali and Trent post episode 6, discussing their Outpost work. So for those that want, like Sonali, next Friday is Voodoo Vanessa based. The following one is Outpost based with Sonali. And hopefully, depending on her schedule, we might be able to get her for more than one. And we'll have her for all the episodes she's in. But that'll be dependent on Sonali's schedule, obviously. But
And for those who
and she might even join us here as well. So
and for those who are looking for a way to build that might be camera shy or just not on these podcasts, go ahead, check out the Super Wiki, add content. It's one of the best ways you can help build a fandom and let people know and look in and be like, wait, what is the Lakiri called? What is the thing? And they can find it.
Split up to organize more. If you're someone out there who's a fan who would be dying to come talk to us on here at some point, it seems like a lot of the time with all our time zones, we tend to sometimes not everyone's going to be on here. So there, especially when we get to the official hiatus, I want to do some videos where I bring on some other fans and we have really in-depth panel discussions. So as long as we're all communicating with the fandom, I think we're going to really generate some great content.
Stacey very nicely just put a gold tweet since Stacey is sick today, so that's why she's not with us. Because our Twitter actually put from Kira, where you're telling us that a noun gets all the best lines, and Stacey said, well, if you're going to be that way, can we agree to let Jake have all the best shirtless scenes, asking for some friends?
Well, yeah, we know he is. Okay, that's a lie.
He does.
Sorry, but Jess Green has the best shirtless scenes, and she's not even completely shirtless.
It's like, I'm only asking for about 500,000 friends.
Like, her torso is just glorious. Like, we don't even see barely any of her boobs, but with her collarbones and her torso, every time she takes the shirt off, I'm like, that's a good woman.
Well,
right
she
there.
is Tasmanian. She is Tasmanian, so.
Like, that's some special, what is this Tasmanian superiority complex you have? You're always like,
it's in the water. We have really good water. Let's be honest. We have really good water. That's the reasoning.
The water here just makes all my friends gay. I swear it must be the water. We were all friends, and then suddenly we grew up, and we were like, "What? You two?
I mean,
who's driving the plane?"
I mean, everyone on the mainland of Australia always knocks Tasmanians for having two heads and all that weird stuff. But we provide Hollywood with some of the best actresses. We've given them Jess Green. We've given them Rachel Taylor. There's so many that, Errol Flynn. He was Tasmanian. We've given them quite a bit from Tasmania, to be honest.
The Tasmanian
and Jess is just the latest one.
Wrap up now, yeah. But so on the conclusion, this was a great episode. The fight scenes were so great. I'll say one thing. I wish that we could get more close-ups. Like when she did that back bend in the room, I wish we could have got a good close-up on her face as she did the back bend. That would have been awesome. But that back bend was awesome. Shout out to
I did not think you were going to say face then.
We're rapping right now, you Tasmanian devil. I swear to God. We're rapping. I'm done. I'm going to bed. Okay, bye everybody. See you next week. Please do your theories.
Thank you for hosting the podcast, and thank you for everyone that's watching.
Thanks to James for stopping by.
Yes.
Go hit up Cult Fans and check out his more really, really in-depth music video discussion about music. I'm tired. I need to rap.
Video.
We made
damn it, rap.
3 accounts now. I'm getting confused.
You might have to beatbox for you to rap.
We'll have to get James to release a music video now. Oh dear.